once more, everyone. Welcome back to NFL Predictions back here on YouTube for week number 3. As we get into week number 3, it's week 7 new games on the schedule. After going 2-5 in week 2, my season record is now 7-7 through the first 2 weeks. Time to get started with week number 3 NFL predictions right now here on this Tuesday edition. Let's get started. As we're starting out with the Jets and the Patriots coming up on Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime this week. This matchup coming in, two teams 1-1. The Jets, Aaron Rodgers, Patriots, and their rookie head coach, Jerod Mayo, former linebacker, former defensive player with the Patriots, who's taken over as head coach. He was the defensive coordinator, I think, or linebacker coach last year. He's a 1-1 record in his first 2 games as head coach. Now, this is a matchup that can be interesting to see because both teams are coming off years where they had bad years last year. Aaron Rodgers, he's healthy this year, good through the first 2 games so far. And he's playing at home this weekend, Thursday Night Football, which should be interesting to see. We'll see how the Jets do with that one for Patriots. Coming at 1-1, this is a tough matchup for them going on the road to play Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers. With the Jets, could this be the year the Jets finally beat New England? Yes, I do think so. And with that being said, I'm going to give Aaron Rodgers and the Jets a pick. I think Breece Hall at run back, the Garrett Wilson, the two of some of the players with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets defense, who I don't know anyone on their team, because they were bad last year because Aaron Rodgers was out hurt. There was a storyline last year they were supposed to be good. This year I think they're going to have a good year. I think the Jets get the win with Aaron Rodgers on Thursday Night Football at home coming up on Thursday. So give the Jets to win there in that one in New York. Moving on, matchup number 2. The 2-0 Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud of the Texans. Again, we're talking about this Texans team coming against the Vikings. Coming in against the Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold. Vikings coming off a win last week where they beat the 49ers 23-17. I picked the Niners in that one. For the Texans last week, I did not make that pick, but C.J. Stroud and Houston coming in again this time around 2-0. It's the Vikings, look at the Vikings. Sam Darnold, is he the replacement? Yes, they got a win last week against the 49ers. For the Texans and C.J. Stroud, they're 2-0. This is a team that's young. They're looking to win. You have a second-year quarterback in C.J. Stroud. You have a second-year coach in DeMeco Ryans, who's their head coach. This team in Houston could be one of the teams I think that could play spoiler this year a lot. And so with that being said, I think the Texans could be a team that plays spoiler. I think the Texans can compete for maybe to get a chance to an AFC title game this year. But I'm not so sure about that at the moment. It's early on. Even though they're 2-0, there's going to be times where they slip up. I think this matchup in Minnesota is going to be a test to the Texans this week. But I do think it's going to be a close game. I do think the Vikings end up winning and giving C.J. Stroud and the Texans their first loss. And they're after picking against the Vikings last week. I don't want to get this one wrong again, which I could. But I'm just taking the Vikings this week because I think this could be a game where the Texans slip up a bit, fall to 2-1. Moving on, next matchup, Denver Broncos and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers coming in at home this week. And another fun matchup. Baker Mayfield this year has been good, 2-0. Broncos coming in not all that good. They lost to the Steelers and Justin Fields, which we'll talk about here shortly. But overall, this Buccaneers team kind of reminds me of Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. The year the Buccaneers won Super Bowl 55, they had to do it out of a wild card spot. But for Baker Mayfield, in his first 2 years in Tampa, last year he got a win. This year in Tampa, his second full seasons, 2-0 so far. This team playing at home, this team in Tampa, they could win at home against Broncos. For Broncos, they're a young team. They're still trying to figure things out. But for the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield, it's really about how the Buccaneers, Mike Evans, Kane Otton, the tight end, the defense, how they can play. I like the Buccaneers in this matchup a lot. And I think Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers will take care of the Broncos easily. Because the Broncos, I think they still have some learning experience to do, even though they don't have Russell Wilson this year. But the Broncos are one of those teams that's building. And, as a fan of their team, personally, they weren't good last year with Russell Wilson, but with Bo Nix at quarterback, this Broncos team, I think, still has some things to learn under Sean Payton as head coach. So, but I'm going to take the Buccaneers. That being said, just going with the home team this time. Next matchup, we have the 2-0 LA Chargers, Justin Herbert and the Chargers going into Pittsburgh. Justin Fields 2-0 the Steelers. Another good matchup. 2-0 Steelers, Justin Fields at quarterback. maybe one of the better quarterbacks in the league this year after being in Chicago the last 4 seasons, not doing good. And Justin Herbert of the Chargers with first-year head coach Jim Harbaugh, 2-0. Chargers look like they can be a team that does things special. And I think it's come down to the Chargers. This matchup, I think, could come down to the field goal units, to the kickers, maybe. Overall, looking at the matchup, Chargers, they're good. Steelers are good, too. It's a tough pick to make. Chargers are looking good. Justin Herbert, I thought a few years ago he'd be a quarterback that leads a team to the playoffs. This year so far, he is trying his best. I think gets the job done this week in Pittsburgh. I think the Chargers are the first. I think the Chargers will be the first team to go beat Justin Fields in the Steelers this year. So I'm going to take the Chargers and Justin Herbert on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers this week on Sunday. Moving on, next matchup. San Francisco 49ers, Brock Purdy coming in at 1-1 against the Rams, who are also 1-1, I believe. Looking at this matchup, after the 49ers lost 23-16 last week to the Rams, to the Vikings, they're taking on the Rams in LA in SoFi Stadium, one of the coolest stadiums to see games in and watch games on TV. Look at this matchup. You look at this matchup over the last few years, this matchup's been pretty close between these two teams, with one winning the division and one not. These two teams are the last two teams to win the division in the NFC West. Both pretty good teams overall on paper. Look at them. And every year their matchups are pretty close. They have playoff games against each other quite a bit as well. And it's going to be one of those years, Brock Purdy's, Matthew Stafford, one of those years where one of the two teams is going to make the playoffs because of how good their team is going to be. And I'm looking at it now, I think the 49ers, Brock Purdy, I think they get a bounce back after losing 23-17 last week. I think the 49ers get a bounce back this week. I think they pull off the win in LA. I think George Kittle gets at least one more touchdown this week from Brock Purdy. And I think Brock Purdy also finds Deebo Samuel for a touchdown maybe as well. And I think Matthew Stafford has a good game as well. But I do think the 49ers go on the road this week, get their second win of the year against the Rams this season. Moving on, next matchup, off in the desert. Detroit Lions 1-1 against the Arizona Cardinals. Looking at this matchup, the Lions coming in at 1-1 after losing last week. After losing last week to Tampa 2016 to the Buccaneers. And they're going to come back on a bounce-back week. Jared Goff, who's been a quarterback who's led a team to Super Bowl in the Rams, and Super Bowl 53 on the loss to the Patriots, and the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's still trying to play good, but you look at the matchup, the Lions have the better weapons. The Arizona Cardinals, I don't know many of their weapons. Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm not sure how good he's going to be this year. But he did have some catches over the weekend, by the way. And I think the Arizona Cardinals, they're just one of those teams that, you look at the Cardinals, they're going to have learning experiences. They lost. They're 1-1. They're 1-1 on the year this year. They won last week against the Rams, 41-10. Had a good game. Is this the year of Kyler Murray and the Cardinals bounce back? I'm not so sure. But I do think the Lions are turning off. I think the Lions bounce back after a tough loss last week. And I do think they get a big win. So I'm going to take the Lions over to Arizona Cardinals coming up on Sunday night. On Sunday afternoon in this one. Moving on to the last game of the day. Sunday Night Football. Kirk Cousins coming off a big win last night against the Eagles. Going up against Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs, who are 2-0. Falcons coming in. Looking hot with Kirk Cousins, 1-1. Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes coming in, 2-0. Now, and I'll tell you this, watching most of the Chiefs game over the weekend on Sunday afternoon against the Bengals, it was a tough fought 26-25 win. And as a fan of the Chiefs, I'll say this mostly. The Chiefs need to work on their offensive line still. The offensive line is what's brought them back, is what's holding them back over this season and part of most of last year. Even though they got the Super Bowl one, the offensive line is the issue, I think, still in Kansas City. The defensive backs are another issue, but I think the Chiefs will find a way to take care of business. And if you're going to come up into Atlanta indoors, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, it's going to be a tough matchup. Go to road to Atlanta for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. This is going to be their first true test of the year against the Falcons. And Kirk Cousins, we saw what he did last night with a game-winning drive against the Eagles on Monday Night Football. But can the Chiefs' offensive line stay out of penalty trouble? I think yes, most likely that happens on Sunday night. But I do think it's going to be some issues there. Can the Chiefs' defense make big plays this weekend. Kind of like what they did last week. I think they will. We'll have to wait and see, though, in this matchup. I do think the Falcons get a surprising upset win. Give the Chiefs their first loss of the year. So I do think that happens. As a fan of the Chiefs, I don't want to say that, but I kind of have to because it's going to be a tough game in Atlanta on Sunday night, in a night game. So there you have it. Break number 3 NFL predictions. Just quick recap I'm taking. Starting out on Thursday night, I'm taking the Jets over the Patriots. On Sunday, taking the Vikings over the Texans, because I do think the Texans and CJ Stroud got their first loss. After that, I'm taking the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield to stay going, beating the stay 3-0. From there, I'm taking the Chargers also, Justin Herbert over Justin Fields, as the Chargers I do think go 3-0. From there, I'm taking the 49ers, Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and their defense to get their second win of the year. From there, I'm taking the Lions in Arizona on Sunday afternoon, and on Sunday night, I'm taking Kirk Cousins and the Falcons to upset the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. It's the week 3 NFL predictions. We're here. Comment below who your favorite team is playing if you think they're going to win this week. And with that being said, please remember to watch, like, subscribe, don't forget to tell friends as well to do the same if they haven't done so. Alrighty, with that being said, I'm going to say, stay safe and peace out. I'll see you right back here for week 4 NFL predictions next Tuesday. With that being said, have a good day. Stay safe. Peace out. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. See ya.